I was going to say morning, afternoon. I don't know the time, so let me just check. It's afternoon now, 12:15. It's a really difficult live stream to make because I don't know if I'll be able to finish it. But basically, let's just say I've had revelations that will get me up and moving to levels of insanity that should really be labelled hell. I could never have imagined being put on my plate. In other words, imagine yourself on your deathbed, someone coming and speaking to you and saying, you know, Gabriel, you know the world as you see it. It's not really like that. The world as you see it is like this. And you're like, in that moment, oh, right, that means what was killing my mind before, which was zapping my energy and making me deal with the problem, has all of a sudden got some space. And with that space made, it means I can fight being on my deathbed, where I was unable to fight 5 minutes ago. But you're on your deathbed and there's a battle, nonetheless, that's in front of you. And that's where I am. And I don't think I'm going to be able to do anymore. I don't think I'm going to be able to finish this live stream, but I'm trying. But revelations have come my way. I don't know what I'm going to be able to share on this video. The main point for me at the moment is to just make a video to see if I can get off my fucking deathbed. I'm being asked to ignore immeasurable pain, a fever that I've been going through that is torment to other levels. I'm only down to one dreadlock in my beard, and I had 5 at one point. There were 2, one on this side and one on this side, and it's fallen out. But I did some washing yesterday. I washed my clothes. It's probably been about 6 months since I did. No, I did some washing about 4 months ago, 3 months ago. But I still had this stuff that was left over from before. And I've added to that. I did 2 big wash loads at the laundry yesterday. Got away. I've read revelations about the life and the world. That are asking me to get up and moving. Really, they're a lie. Really, nothing's going to get me up and moving off my deathbed. But they're a lie to what we understand as life on this planet. I've said before, everything I am is spiritual in this world. I'm making use of resources and energy I shouldn't really be making use of. When you're on your deathbed, you don't really want to be getting up and doing a thing. You want to be focused and resting, because rest is hard to heal. I've got a mental health disorder, and I spiritual and those lines of where my mental health leaves off and spirituality begins. It's so blurred, it's unbelievable. I'm able to communicate within that to people, but as a personal experience, that's as good as I can express for a viewer to understand in simple words. But let's just say what we're talking about is humanity in terms of what it means to be human, in terms of evolution, in terms of our spiritual heritage, in terms of our potential future and our potential demise and destruction. And arguably, healing without healing, I know that doesn't make sense, but that's the best way to describe it in simple words. Healing without healing of everything. And giving life to what it means in terms of our evolution and spiritual heritage. The most optimum chance of flourishing for what it means to be human. Now, there are a lot of parallels, there are a lot of arguments within that you would start university courses and master's degrees in studying, because we haven't explored that in terms of what it means to be human. Basically, my consciousness has been going out to a certain extent. Not intentionally, but that's just the way things have been taking place. And it's been looking for answers, so to speak. It's going out. It's looking for answers to the questions that it doesn't know, to the ignorance that's inside me as a conscious being, to what does life mean. And yesterday the weird thing happened. I started to feel, see, sense walls to this consciousness that had been going out for the longest time. And the walls, just to be clear, aren't answers. It was like the exact opposite. It's like my consciousness is going out, so it's constantly finding answers. And it's been going out and finding answers, and all of a sudden, I feel like a little edge, a little surface somewhere to that consciousness that's going out. And it's not simply that there's no answers there, but it's a case of I can sense other consciousness there constructing a course that intermixes. Now, I'll go slowly so you can get away. As my consciousness is going out, it's getting a picture of reality backwards in time and forwards in time. And it has a single coherent line of time, and that is myself. And within that, for all intensive purposes, everybody else has become insignificant. Now try and imagine that for yourself. Consciousness is going out. Your past, including all of humanity's past, is a single line of time to you in the present moment. That also goes out into the future in many different lines of time and possibility. You are the coherent message within that time. And all of a sudden, all of these great masters that have walked the earth, all of these people that you know, they start to connect and come together. So in other words, this great master of the future connects to this great master of the past and this person you know in the present moment. And then you've got another line of time that gives you a reference to yourself. And as all the questions are going out in that direction, there's this little point that you realize is connected in this time that all of a sudden is another reference to yourself. So you've got a line of reference from the beginning of time to the end of time in many different ways, and that's solid. And from that solidness, that's where the consciousness expands from. As it's going out for the first time, it's seeing, not through seeing, but through knowing itself, knowing what it knows in terms of people, it can reference another line of time alongside it. And in the present moment, going outwards, because I did in the present moment, it feels something there where it can't go past. Another consciousness that is beyond itself that says, right, you're not able to come past this. And that is an edge to an expanding consciousness. It could be the edges of the universe, who knows? But that's what started to happen last night, and started to happen quite quickly. And the way it started to happen was a case of, it started to see a complete picture to the complete healing of everything. An ultimate point to humanity's evolution and purpose on this planet. And it managed to link in a coherent story where other bodies, at the very least, their consciousnesses, but that consciousness might be an aspect of myself, but the body is conscious because it links in as a linear course of time. And within that, it has a personality, the soul that links all of that separate lineage of time has a consciousness and a personality. And you can't deny that. Now that may be an aspect of the original solid time of line you've created. But the way I deal with my mental health and my approach to life is I don't question that separateness. I see it and I say, well, yeah, you could be a part of me. I'm not going to take ego and say, oh, you're just a part of me and I'm God. No. I see it and I say, you're so solid as yourself, as this linear course of time. And I'm so stupid, so to speak. I'm still a 36, 37, almost 37-year-old man in this world that isn't really well educated. Has just spent a lot of time thinking about spirituality. And within that, there's a lot of ignorance to existence and life. And I'm seeing this line of time that's separate to me. And this line of time that I believe is solid, that is me, has a lot of great things that have happened in the past and great things that have happened in the future and bad things that have happened in the past and future. But ultimately, whatever happens, I'm still this 37-year-old idiot in the present moment. And this is just a fantastic story. I'm not going to disregard this other line of time that wants to say it's separate from me, because within that line of time I can see a greatness that's beyond my consciousness now, just in the present moment. But ultimately, more than that, and you might have to play this video back 1 or 2 times and put it on playback speed of 7.5 or 0.5 on YouTube so you can really understand what I'm trying to say. Ultimately, where my consciousness has got to is a closed point of healing in the near future for all of humanity that basically sends us back about 2,000 years. And we end up back in the time of Jesus, around the time of his death, before he rose, as a perfectly healed human race, to the best of our abilities, as an entire universe for all of time. And within that, there are 144,000 other individuals in the present moment that are most at work within that idea for all of human race. So it's pretty far out there. It's pretty it's pretty much what we could ever ask for as a human race. Perfectly healed planet. The creation and formation of love as a reality. Love is a question. Love is, does love exist or does it not? And what I'm saying is when we go back 2,000 years as a collective human race, we find ourselves in different bodies 2,000 years ago. Whatever the work that has been done in the present moment in the 2,000 years since Jesus died is a case of we got to the very consciousness within the fabric of reality. And it doesn't matter if this universe is but an insignificant point to a much vaster level of consciousness. We have tapped consciousness. And we said, the way we're going forward as a collective universe is to lop off whatever part of reality that questions love's existence. And we're going to write into our universe, into the consciousness that this universe runs on love. And if our demise comes one day as a collective universe, then it will just be quick and painless. And that's the best we can do as a collective universe to guaranteeing optimum survival in absolute perfection. But because consciousness is consciousness, it might be one day the universe is a speck of dust on a vastly greater level of consciousness, and it's sitting there on its shoulder. But because we're vibrating the level of love, it's the best we can do to guarantee our survival to the unknown that lies beyond. You might have to repeat this video a few times to really digest what that means. I've been as clear enough as I can in the moment because I'm still monitoring my energy levels to being on my fucking deathbed. But we're locking in love to existence when love is just a question. And within locking in love, we're talking about every imaginable reality that one could want. I believe when we go back to Jesus' time, the population obviously is not going to be 8 billion. We're going to condense down into about a population of about 144 million. I could be wrong. I need to do my research and confirm these points. I believe we'll be a planet of about 144 billion with connection to the stars. And because we've locked in love and we know survival to the ultimate, we can rest as a species. And as much as we see the sky at the moment, as a collective planet, what's going to happen is our eyes are just going to be able to relax to reality. And there's going to be a change that happens. And somehow when we look up, it's like a fisheye lens, isn't it? It's the opposite There's concave and there's the other one. But my suspicion is it's going to be like an internal Earth. The way things are going to change, we're going to have a vision that looks up and sees a sun in the sky. And we're so guaranteed about survival in terms of reality. It's going to be like a 24-hour sun. And instead of the Earth going this way, like a ball, it's going to be like it opens up and comes in on itself. There's a great central sun in the middle, and we're just looking up. We just forget the sky. Our eyes change and they become it's concave when it goes to a point, and we just live in bliss forever. And if we're going to live in bliss forever, the work that's going to happen going forward now, I suspect it could be 100 years, 10 years, for most people at max, and then possibly about another 100 on top, where those 144,000 people, pardon me, in the present moment that are most at work for the human race, go forward, and do the final bits of the work for the rest of the human race. In the moment of time when we go from a race of people of 8 billion down to 144,000 people that are still alive, it's only in this continuation of this time, this reality is, for all intents and purposes, a dream. The most grounded real point in time for all of human race is 2,000 years ago, or whenever Jesus was about. And that's where we're going back to. That's the realness. We're all, for all intents and purposes, we're in a continued afterlife process at the moment, creating a dream of groundedness 2,000 years ago, but we'll become immortal beings. And the moment in time that the planet goes from 8 billion down to 144,000 is insignificant to 2,000 years ago. We all kind of wake up at the same time 2,000 years ago. And the 100 years of work thereafter is just like, right guys, job's done. Let's get the mop bucket and broom out and start clearing up. Those 144,000 beings, tidy up the consciousness. But it's not tidying up the consciousness. What it is the final pieces, final brushstrokes. It's a beautiful picture that is in utter bliss for all of humanity, because those final brushstrokes are the removal of any elements of consciousness that say love doesn't exist. And we lock ourselves in as 144 million beings locked into a collective movement forward with connections to the stars and other planets, doing this exact same level of consciousness, locked into nature, knowing that love exists because we've done the fucking work. Is that going to be one hell of a fucking party? I wonder how many million years that party's going to roll on for. But still work to do, and I'm on my fucking deathbed in this reality right now. So I'll leave you with that. I guess the revelation won to a certain extent, but the fight still goes on when I press end in about 5 seconds.